Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's comes at us from Childra, Owane, K. I don't know if I'm pronouncing either of those correctly. I couldn't find any pronunciation guide for this. It doesn't seem to be like it's a real word possibly either. So I'm not entirely sure on that. Plus the quotations around the K are actually part of the title. So if you're going to put quotations around it, you'd have two quotations on each side of the K. Very interesting that it's not just the letter itself. I don't know much about this. We have no context heading into it. Let's just dive in. See what Owane is bringing to the table today. Came in on the offbeat. That's fun. Very funky syncopations. It's a very fun mix between more melodic progressive writing and that super funky, disjointed rhythmic stuff that you would find in like math rock. Ah, dude. Working the rhythmic devices of the drums into the guitar part is slick. Okay. Temporary filter thrown in there. Those super staccato notes. This song cracks me up, dude. Sure, why not? Okay, I kind of figured that was the end. I do like having another bass led section. So I appreciate the ending being bass led there, since we only had one previous section like that. It was slap and pop, funky style bass work. Again, though, I would have liked more traditional finger picking with some bass leads, but maybe that's just this track. Maybe we hear some of that on a different track from this artist. But I enjoyed hearing the bass coming back to lead another section. But was it worth it? I don't know that the ending really elevated the track too much for me, and I thought that the violin variation, bringing the energy down, was a good way to wrap the track up. It did provide a bit of lower energy to bounce back and have contrast, but I felt like we had already hit a nice peak moving into that violin, what I thought was the outro, but was more of a mid-tro going on there. Mid-tro. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about it. It's interesting, nonetheless, even if it went against my expectations for what was going on. Solid track, though. Very cool stuff all around. This is jazzy, fusiony, mathy kind of stuff. I don't quite know where I would place this. It definitely feels modern. Part of it is that super clean guitar tone, but also the use, maybe even the hyper use of staccato ideas. Staccato is just a very short like sound. Instead of la, you have da, 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 very short technique. We hear that all over the place here. It's also hyper syncopated. Something about the guitar feels modern too. I don't know what it is about the tone itself, but also there's that technique where we get a lot of grit or rumble within the guitar, and I believe that's achieved by just kind of hitting the whammy bar. I've seen people kind of make a fist and just kind of like hit it, but I suppose you can do it with your palm as well. And instead of getting the full bend out of it, something that maybe a blues guitarist might do, you just kind of hit it real quick and it sends vibrations through the string, which creates this pitch variation. And when that gets amplified, it kind of turns into this warble sound that exists. And I love it. It's a very modern technique. I think I've really only heard guitarists start using it in the last 3 years or so, 4 years. I kind of associate it with modern mathy kind of stuff. Polyphia, I think's used it a few times. So that's sort of very clean, jazzy, mathy sound with modern technique, not modern technique, but modern focus techniques. Stuff that certainly has been around. It's not like it was invented recently, but is very much in the spotlight with modern guitarists. All of that leads me to think that this is a track that probably came out this decade sometime. It is incredibly infectious though, and this comes down to two ideas. Primarily the first is groove and rhythm. Right from the start. I mean, we had this lead up, yeah, and I was conducting it out. I was trying to figure out the time signature for it. This song's in 4/4 all the way through. But I caught on to it, and then I felt the rising energy. I was like, all right, here's the end of a 4-bar phrase. Energy's coming up. 2 hands for you to really signify the beginning of a new idea. And then they just didn't do anything on the downbeat. And from there, the syncopated ideas just ran on overdrive, trying to pretty much avoid the downbeat at all costs. Usually some instrument might play it so that you can feel the syncopation against it, but there is so much emphasis on the space between beats, halfway between beats, dividing a beat into 4 and hitting it on the first quarter or the third quarter. Anyway, it's just kind of dance around the beat itself. And by locking into these really short tones, the staccato stuff going on here, it really elevates the space between the accented part of the beat and the downbeat itself, because there's so much separation between them. And it's what gives the song the incredibly jagged feeling of it. It's why, it's kind of difficult to bob your head smoothly. It's got like this very sharp movement is how I felt this song. And a lot of that's because of these very spacious, accentuated, syncopated hits throughout this. But the groove elevates this. It is incredibly groovy. This could have been a track that through the heavy syncopation made it very difficult to move your body to at all, where you kind of lose where the beat is entirely. You're just kind of lost listening to it, maybe enjoying the virtuoso performance, but not really feeling the track in any way, kind of getting lost in the complexities of it. But they find a way to retain that groove throughout. And no matter how complex it gets on the rhythmic side, you just kind of lock into that. And you're just like, yeah, dude, so good. Just bob your head to it. You don't really know what you're bobbing your head to. Some of the beats you're bobbing on aren't represented in the music at all, but you're feeling it still. You can feel that invisible beat, something that's implied but not directly played. And I'd say that half of this song is more the implication of beats rather than actually playing them, as seen with that first big downbeat that didn't exist. I felt it, we built up into it, this was the big drop, and they just didn't play it. That shows up all throughout this track. So it is groovy but choppy. It is incredibly complex rhythmically, which gives it its very strong mathy feel throughout. And the bass guitar lays down the bass and the drummer. They're both killing it on this element. The more melodic drum parts, the drum fills all throughout this, the use of ghost notes in several places to keep energy moving in more, I should say maybe in, how would I describe this? They're more dense in that there's a lot of things going on, but there's not a lot of focus on beats, and that's where the ghost notes on the snare kind of fill that in a little bit. The bass is just super funky though throughout all this. We have some nice finger-picked lines that give us more of a foundation, a home idea that everything else can dance around, but there's also those two slap sections that are just absolutely funky, man. And yeah, between these two instruments, we get a lot of cool syncopation. We get a lot of virtuoso playing here. The composition is sick from a rhythmic perspective, but also incredibly fluid. It sets up a fantastic foundation for the guitar. And the guitar runs with this. And I think this is what makes the song really click for me. Does the guitar have super sharp, staggered, syncopated, the triple S thing going on there. Sharp, staggered, and syncopated guitar licks. Of course, absolutely. Some of these sections are just incredibly rhythmically focused. But the guitarist also knows, they also know when to back off from that. To kind of chill out a little bit, hold out some notes, play some more standard melodic ideas, at least standard from a rhythmic perspective. And in these moments, we get to hear some of the jazzy inspirations on this, as the harmonic information in these moments is just as dense as the rhythmic information in other moments. And so the song ends up being a perfect trifecta. Would I like all of these sections to be molded together more often? Sure. But there are incredibly rhythmic moments of this track, there are incredible harmonic moments of this track, and there are incredible melodic moments of this track. And it ends up tickling everything that I love. Nope, that came out. Tickling my brain in all the right ways. Should I edit that? Don't. It ends up tickling my brain in all the right ways because I enjoy division and diversity in my music. I'm not somebody who can just listen to a textured song with a rhythm for an entire, 10 minutes or something. I need the melody, I need the harmony, and this song has it all. Granted, it's given to you in spurts. You get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that, you get a little bit of that. But it dances around enough in such a short amount of time that it never really feels like it stagnates in any one of those directions. It feels like it's always not only just being in the moment and playing what needs to be played now, but also setting up ideas for transitions into a section that's going to focus on a different part of our pyramid. And I really appreciate the attention to detail through all of this. It is, though, about 3 minutes into the song when the violin takes over for the guitar and starts playing its line, and I was like, dude, this is cool. We got baton passing. This new violin line is very close to the guitar line. The atmosphere has shifted. It is still kind of rhythmic, but we're focusing more on chords and melody here. Again, I thought this was a fantastic way to wrap things up. We also saw a filter use earlier to cut out some of the low end and make it sound like the song's kind of scooping and wrapping up around itself for a little bit. So this use of smaller sections to create contrast against the fuller sound, it happens enough on this track to give it a bit of phrasing and pacing. I think most of this track though is just, it's at the same energy all throughout. It does what it does really well. And, you know, bringing back the violin, I thought this was very cool that they continued to incorporate it in the outro. Bringing the band back in underneath it and having this extra instrument to play around with. You know, we have 2 melody instruments now. What can we do with that? Something we didn't see too much of earlier. The bass could have been more melodic, but continued to be a foundational part of the rhythm section. So I enjoyed that little bit at the end, and that's what makes me feel even more divided about the finale, is that there's so many cool things in it, but I felt as far as storytelling, pacing, narrative goes, wrapping up on the quieter violin part still feels right to me. Even though it's quite obvious that the artist had more to say after that. I think that's less about me disliking the final 40 seconds or so of the song. I think it's more about the end, the true ending of this track, not really feeling like as strong of an ending as the earlier section was. So it's not so much about the extension that I think disappoints me as much as I would have liked a stronger final 10-15 seconds on this track rather than ending abruptly as it did. I was going to say let's hit some lyrics, but there are no lyrics on this track. This is just super fun, super bouncy. I don't even think I brought up the fun part, and I don't have much else to say to that, but it is just very bright, vibrant, uplifting, and it does a great job of keeping a smile on my face while keeping me metrically entertained as well. It is complex on the rhythmic side, but easy to digest on the harmonic side. It's obviously a track about having fun. These are my thoughts on Owane's K. What did you think of this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Do you have your own take, perspective, or opinion on this track? Let me know. Throw that stuff down into the comment section below along with anything else that you'd like to add to the conversation. Above that, in the description box, is a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.